Vitality is our ability to have spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical bliss. Some call it paradise. We call it a game.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your host, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So what we're talking about is why Black women don't mind walking away. They don't mind walking away from marriages. They don't mind walking away from relationships. I did a stream yesterday that you can watch right here, and we talked about how the women don't invest anything in these relationships, and it's quite on purpose. But I actually have a video that's about 3 minutes long of a brother talking about what it means to him, or what he thinks about the marriage contract itself. And it's sort of almost, even though he's not saying these words, kind of why men don't like the contract as it stands today. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to share my perspective. So let me go ahead. You know, it always takes me a minute to share my screen, and here we go.
Premeditated relationship suicide. That institution has a 60% likelihood of failing. Your love don't matter. Them kids don't matter. What matters in that relationship is the struggle for power. Men are Frodo, the state is Sauron, and the women are ringwraiths. Go watch Lord of the Rings if you don't get the reference, assholes. As it should be, you all let the state, by way of a stranger, come in your relationship and govern it for you. And the state makes more money off of your divorce. Now, think about it from a practical standpoint. If you do get a benefit such as taxes, why would the state want you to have that? Divorce is a booming industry, and everybody keeps signing up to get one by way of a marriage contract. Because ain't no way you can convince me that people were this in love before they got married, and then after this contract, something just magically happened for y'all to fall out. Okay, what happened? Money, toilet seat, this house ain't clean enough. I'm tired of taking them to school. It's your turn. All that shit that you would have had to go through in any relationship where you would otherwise, all that bullshit that you would have had. All that shit that you would have to go through in any relationship that you would have otherwise stuck it out for, you were incentivized to leave inside of this institution. And women incentivize exponentially more than men. Yeah, you want children to have to go back and forth between their mom and daddy? Get married. Men, if you want to give up half your shit, get married. Women, if you want to be a single mother, get married. Want to feel like you're obligated to take care of your children when you would have done that anyway because the state has their thumb on you? Get married. Men kill themselves over this shit sometimes. You want to relinquish your accomplishments, accolades, and all your successes in life? The easiest way to do that is to get married. Not to mention, a woman can't give you no good reason why she wants to do it either. Ask anyone to watch what she tell you. There are benefits. You get companionship. Could have got that without a license. You get love. So your ass ain't love me before. Could have got that without a license. Children and a family. Could have got that without a license. Tax break. The highest reward a man can get from a woman is access to her body and access to her womb. Sex and children. And you likely to lose both of them shits in that institution. It has no stipulations when you sign on the dotted line. No responsibilities, nothing you are obligated to do, no penalties should you fall short. Yeah, you really don't even know what you signed. Just a piece of paper that says, we hereby recognize your ass married according to us. Us being some people you don't even know that oppress you. Because the vows you read during the wedding are not stipulated in no marriage contract. Oh, but the motherfuckers come up when it's time to get divorced though. And a price tag attached to them shits. Your sanity is attached to them shits. Drinking problems await. Or something worse. That institution is dangerous. But without a contract, both of y'all are obligated to stay because nobody's getting rewarded if they leave. You're going to find out who really love the motherfucker. Bars.
Okay. I wanted to share that. I know it was a little long, But I wanted to share that because there is a lot of talk about what constitutes a marriage, whether or not the paper from the state constitutes a marriage, or whether or not the relationship that both parties agree to constitute the marriage. And this video that I'm making right now isn't an endorsement one way or the other. I'm not telling people that you shouldn't go and get a legal marriage contract if that's what you want to do. And I'm not telling people that you must get a legal contract if that's not what you want to do or whatever. People do what they want to do with it. However, what I'm intending to talk about today is why a lot of women, most women, majority of women, particularly Black women, because that's the group I belong to, would never, ever, ever, never get into a relationship without that legal piece of paper. And the reason why she would never do that is because the marriage itself for her is not happening on an emotional level. It's only happening on a physical level. It's only happening on a legal level. It's only happening for her on an institutional level because that's the only thing that means something to her. She gets to use the institution to her benefit while she's in the marriage. So tax breaks and things of that nature, monetary, institutional things, the environment. She gets to utilize that to her benefit, okay? She can file jointly or separately or however you guys put that together on your taxes, especially if both of you or one of you are in a higher tax bracket. And so there are all of these institutional or legal perks or whatever as she's married. And when she decides to leave you, because the vast majority of divorces are filed by women, regardless of whether or not they're rich or poor or in the middle, doesn't matter. When she decides to leave, that she's gotten all of the legal and physical benefit that she's going to get out of this, it's time to go. And so once she does that, she can then turn around and use the legal and the institution again to benefit her again. And especially depending on which state you are in, the alimony laws are very relaxed and they very much favor her and incentivize her not only to divorce a man, but if he has enough money and the alimony is good enough, it also incentivizes her never to get remarried legally again. Because in a lot of states, the alimony requirement and the stipulation is that he has to pay, the ex-husband has to pay the alimony to the wife unless and until she gets into another marriage. And that's the only way that he's really absolved legally of the alimony. Which, if this man is rich and the alimony is a good payday for her, she's incentivized never to get legally married again. Now she's gonna have another relationship, but she's not gonna get legally married anymore because that bag, the alimony bag, stops. So she's not in any way beholden to this relationship because she's not investing in the relationship. There is no real emotional investment. And like I said, when you go back and watch the live stream that I did before, you'll hear a Black woman talk about how she's not going to invest anything. She's not going to take care of me. Like, she's not going to do anything. She's not going to intend to do anything, even to the point of living separately and all this other type of stuff. So there is no real investment, okay, of emotion. You know, you get a little attached if you're living with somebody or whatever. So there are certain things that you get attached to. But true investment, true love, true, you know what I'm saying? We're in it for the long haul. She'll never get into a marriage without the institutional backing, because otherwise she doesn't get anything. She doesn't get the restitution for having served time with him. You understand what I'm saying? She's doing a bid in the marriage. She's doing a bid. All right? Especially if there's money to be had, alimony to be had, assets to be split, and these sorts of things. She's doing a bid. She's in that marriage long enough to have been recognized not only as the wife, but recognized as a person that had contributed to the monetary gain and anything that was acquired during the marriage, so that she could be more. See, the longer time she spent, the more it looked better for her to get more out of the divorce. If she do a 10-year bid, then, you know, her lawyers and things of that nature can argue that, well, she put in time, she put in work, she did this, she did that to contribute in the marriage. So therefore, she should have a right to X amount percentage of a settlement in a divorce, right? Versus if she's only been there 2 years. She's only been there a year and a half. It don't look good. You know what I'm saying? This is why the women stay for certain amounts of time. You married to him for 10 or more years, you're eligible to get his pension. If you're married, see, it's all a long game to the gynocrat, to the hyena. It's all a long con. It's a long con. And see, that marriage contract serves as a threat. See, before the advent of no-fault divorce, the marriage contract was not the level of threat that it is now. I think California was the first state to adopt no-fault divorce, I believe in 1970 under the Reagan administration, right? And the last state to adopt it was New York, I believe in 2010. All right. So no-fault divorce means that either party can go down and petition in the courthouse and say, I just want a divorce. It's irreconcilable differences, or the marriage is irretrievably broken. And they don't have to say, well, this person broke the contract in the following way, and this is why we're getting divorced. And nobody ever stops to think how it's a contract that can be broken without proof of any of the stipulations within the contract having been broken. Nobody actually thinks about that. Here is a contract, and contracts don't work like that in any other way, right? If you create a business contract or any other legally binding contract, okay, between two parties, whether it's two individuals, two companies, whatever the case may be, and everybody signs on the dotted line, it's up to everybody to read the contract, including the fine print, right? Because you're beholden to these stipulations within the contract, and any breaking of these things within the contract can render the entire contract broken. And then there are consequences for having broken the contract. There's certain things that you don't get, certain benefits you don't get, you know what I'm saying? Certain consequences or penalties may apply if it is broken in this way or that way or before this time. It could be any stipulation, but as long as the two parties agree and sign and have witnesses or is notarized or whatever the case may be, both are beholden to the rules and regulations of this contract. And if you think the contract is unfair, you have a right not to sign that contract. You just don't enter into the contract with whomever, right? But a marriage contract is a contract legally binding by the state, yet and still it doesn't require either party to prove that anything within that contract was actually broken. And like the brother pointed out, the vow that you make before in like the religious part of it isn't necessarily the same thing stipulated in the marriage contract. So during the marriage, if one or two parties is not living up to the expectation of the marriage, you don't get to go back down to the courthouse and really have a true arbitration to rectify your marriage and say, okay, my wife or my husband is in the process of defaulting on certain stipulations in the marriage. Let's have some type of hearing or something like that where he or she is accountable, and the court have to hold you accountable. There's some consequence when you don't do it. And she's never going to give up that threat, ever. And the reason why she's never going to give up that threat is because the marriage didn't happen in her heart. It happened in your heart, the man's heart, but it didn't happen in hers. And the reason I'm saying it happened in a man's heart is because it's the men that propose. See, the marriage happens spiritually before it ever happens legally. You don't even get to the legal part or the contract without the man having said to himself, I want to spend my life with this woman, which is why he proposes, which is why it's traditional and customary for the man to propose, because he gatekeeps that. And so, and therefore he's the arbiter of whether or not there's a marriage going to take place between him and another woman, right? So that takes place inside of him. So the marriage is actually spiritual. The marriage itself is spiritual. Because you don't get to the legal without him thinking and thinking in his mind and feeling in his heart that he want to marry you. Then comes the proposal. All of this is before the contract. Then comes the proposal. He already spent money on engagement rings and all that kind of stuff. All of this before the marriage contract is ever brought up or signed. But she don't mind walking away because she'll get restitution from the state of having served her time. It's as simple as that. So sound off in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.